Doesn't get any more must-win than a Game 7, and that's what we have, but not one. We have two of them this Sunday, May the 19th. We've had one the entire playoffs. That was Orlando-Cleveland a couple weeks ago on Sunday. Now we have two of them on the same day. Pacers-Knicks in the afternoon. Timberwolves-Nuggets Sunday night. I'm going to give you details on the side, total, player props, let you know how to make some money in both games, free in this video in just a moment. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV, breaking down both Game 7s for this Sunday, May the 19th. First one goes at 3:30 Eastern on ABC National TV. Pacers at the Knicks. First of all, Game 7 home teams and unders have been long-term winners in the NBA playoffs. Once again, home teams do well in Game 7, and we see a lot of unders in both Game 6s and 7s. I've talked about that the last few nights here in the video. The difference, though, is the odds makers have caught on to both angles, especially the under angle, and this Knicks game is a perfect example. In fact, just the other night on Friday, the over-under was 216. It went over, landed 219. And even before the game was over, we saw advanced numbers of 209. Now it's down to 208, 208 and a half here for a game number 7, mostly 208s now as I check the WagerTalk Live odds screen. So this is 8 points lower than Game 6, which went over the total. This is what I'm talking about. Odds makers are onto it. We saw it with that Cleveland-Orlando Game 7 a few weeks ago. Every game in the series had been about 199, 200 or higher. They price at 194. I had some strong situations on the under. It was looking pretty good. The in-game line was 188 with about 5 minutes to go. And then Orlando started to foul. They took some desperation threes. And before you know it, there was 30-some points scored in the final few minutes. And it went over. It landed on 200, which would have been under still for most of the earlier games. So giving up the line value is a real thing. But once again, it's pretty much under or pass for me normally on these Game 7s because we have seen some situations where they're drastically lower scoring. And the reason for those of you that are new to handicapping is Game 7s we get more defensive intensity because it is a true must-win for both teams, and playoff games in general are lower scoring. With that said, though, we've actually gone 2-0 in this series, cashing a couple overs. We had one in Game 1 a few weeks ago, which easily soared over the total. In fact, that one wasn't even in doubt. Going back to Game 1, we saw 238 points, got over the 217. Also came back with that over the other night on Friday. We went over 215 and a half, landed 219. In fact, the first two games saw 238, 251 points scored in New York. Now, the Game 5, the other game in New York, was lower scoring. That still, though, had 212 points the other night. Let's look at my mathematical rescore, and this is a percentage model based on the expected shooting percentage for both teams. So far, every game has been 215 or higher on the rescore percentage, and every game has been 212 or higher on my pace model. So, yes, 208 is a drastic adjustment down, but New York is a good defensive team. They are shorthanded. I do think they'll look to slow things down here in Game 7. So, although my math models and pace models have been favoring the over, and we've cashed a couple times with best bets, Game 7s are a different beast, and that's why this line is currently 8 points lower than it was just 2 nights ago. As far as the side in this game, home team, perfect 6-0 straight up so far in this playoff series, and they have covered all 6 games as well. Once again, home team is 6-0 straight up, 6-0 against the spread. Obviously, that would favor New York in Game 7, and historically speaking, that favors New York as well, as home teams do win the large majority of these Game 7s, as technically they're the better team. That's why they have home court for Game 7. Concern with New York, though, is the injury report. They've always been extremely shorthanded. Brunson's been battling the injuries, but he's playing extremely well still. But the two guys we got to keep an eye on. Josh Hart is now on the injury report with the abdominal strain that he suffered in Game 6 the other night. In fact, he exited early fourth quarter and did not come back. He is expected to play, but how healthy is Hart? That's a major question. OG Anunoby, a guy we've talked a lot about, he's missed the last 4 games. He is questionable with a hamstring injury. He does expect to do the shoot-around Sunday morning. If he's 100%, I doubt it. How much he'll help is a big question, but it's not about offense. It's defense with Anunoby. In fact, per 48 minutes with him on the court this year, they're 14 points better defensively. So that's another thing that would favor the under in Game 7 if he's able to go. By the way, since they made that 2-for-1 trade with Toronto at the turn of the calendar, going back to January 1st, the Knicks are 28-8 straight up in all games with Anunoby in the lineup. So he has a vastly underrated player and a very important guy on the defensive side. So a lot of uncertainty with those New York injuries. If we're looking at player props, hard not to like Brunson over. Once again, it's Brunson over or pass for me. You know my theory on these superstars. I only look to play him over, and the fact that the Knicks are coming off a bad performance in Game 6 the other night could be the buy side from Brunson. He still had 31 points, but more importantly, he took 26 shot attempts. No other Knick took more than 12 or 14 shot attempts One guy that did go 8 for 12, surprisingly, with 20 points was Miles McBride. We have not mentioned his name the entire postseason on any of my videos. Miles McBride has had 16 or more now in 3 straight games. He's priced at 13.5. If Hart is limited and Anunoby does not play, Miles McBride might step up once again with a 4th straight big scoring game. The other guy, if once again Hart is limited, is the other part of that Villanova 3, DiVincenzo, once again 17 points. His total is right around 17 in this game. He had only 8 and 7 before. I'd mentioned in my video Friday I thought he would play better, as he had 25, 28, and 35 in the first 3 games. DiVincenzo, once again, Brunson are 2 of the guys I think likely will carry the Knicks if they do win this critical Game 7. Pacers are a high-scoring team. They play a lot less defense. They like to push the tempo. Let's look at what players might be part of that. Siakam obviously had a great game. Pascal Siakam, playoff veteran from Toronto over the years, 22 and 25. His last 2 games, he's had 22 or more in 3 of the last 4. He's priced at 21.5. Siakam will obviously be a big part for Indiana. And then, of course, they're probably their best overall player, and their quarterback, basically, is Tyrese Halliburton. He had 15 points, and he had 13 the game before that, but he did have 20 and 35 the 2 prior games. He's another guy that's most likely going to have a big Game 7. If he is their best player, which I think he is, probably more than 15.6 assists. So after a subpar outing by Halliburton, I would say the over for his assist props, points props, is probably worth a look. How about Obi Toppin, the most popular player here in these videos, over 8.5 points? Sure, why not? I had him over the game on Friday night, Game 6. He had 11. He had 7 and 14 the 2 games before that. He's priced at 8.5. If you're looking for somebody off the bench, you could definitely do worse than Obi Toppin over 8.5 points. I know a lot of you here in the chat like him. The problem, though, I have with Toppin, the reason I probably won't play it, is he was 5 for 6 from the field and still only got 11 points. He didn't really get a lot of shots or minutes, so this might be a game to lay off Toppin, even though we did like him in Game 6. I'll give you a bench player, though. They got a lot of shot attempts, played only 16 minutes, but McConnell for Indiana, 7 for 13 shooting, got 13 shot attempts, 15 points. He has now scored 15 twice in 2 of the last 3 games, 7 in the other. He's priced at 9.5. TJ McConnell, if he gets anywhere near those shot attempts again, probably gets up and over 9.5 points for the Pacers. All right, that's your early game, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Side total player props. How are you playing this game? Do we wait for an in-game opportunity? Do we want to see what Hart looks like? Do we want to see if Anunoby's in the lineup? This might be a good live wagering opportunity for those reasons Sunday afternoon if you're sitting around watching it live. All right, I'm going to get to your late game in just a moment, Timberwolves and Nuggets. Just a quick reminder, if you want my official best bets each and every day, baseball and basketball, get them on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and don't forget the free daily plays. I post a free play, normally in baseball, sometimes basketball as well. Free plays daily have done quite well. They make you money. They're the last cut. They're strong opinions. Check out the daily free plays right now, including Sundays, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And while you're there, this is your last chance, today and tomorrow, the last 2 days of the instant 30% discount on any all-sport, all-access package with promo code ALL30, 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 instant 30% discount on any all-sports package. Can be a 1 day, a 3 day, a 7 day, a 1 month, a 3 month, a 1 year. Anywhere from 1 day to 1 year. If it's an all-sport, all-access, you get 30% off instantly by using promo code ALL30, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. 1 down, 1 to go. Let's look at your late game at 8 o'clock Eastern Sunday night on TNT National TV. We have the Denver Nuggets, the defending world champs, back at home. Blowout, embarrassed by 45 points in Game 6. This series has been crazy so far. You know, Minnesota, the underdog coming into the series, they get out to an 18-4 lead in Game 1. Then Denver comes back and actually leads 44-40 at the half. Of course, the Timberwolves go on to win that game. And then without Rudy Gobert, Minnesota plays their best game of the series until the other night. And they win Game 2 rather easily. Minnesota had a 32-point lead in that game. But then Denver, marked for dead just over a week ago Friday. Minnesota was a minus 500 favorite with a 2-0 lead. I thought it was an overreaction. I stepped in with a strong best bet on Denver, on both Denver and the over in Game 3 for my clients 2 Fridays ago. Nuggets led by as many as 34. It was never in doubt. And then they went on to win Games 4 and 5. I thought Minnesota was in good spots in both 4 and 5. I mentioned them here in the video. They came up short. So sure, we were all a little hesitant, but I gave them to you in the video Thursday. I thought it was a good bounce back spot. Didn't expect them to win by 45, but I think a large part of that was Denver just didn't show up. And look, we love a good conspiracy in the NFL. We love a good conspiracy in the NBA. We love a good conspiracy here in the videos. I don't want to say the fix was in. I don't think that's what it was, but the Nuggets sure didn't look like they cared about that game, and I'm sure the league is happy now to have a Game 7. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. I know we talk about conspiracy theories in the NBA, but boy, Denver did not show up at all from the gate, from the jump. They were down by 50 points. Let that sink in. They'd won the last 3 games easily. They'd had 18-point leads or bigger in each of the last 3 games. Minnesota's biggest leads were 2, 4, and 7 in each game. And then all of a sudden, Denver's down by 50. That was strange. They called off the dogs. They sat everyone in the fourth quarter. They ended up with only 70 points. This is the epitome of a good bounce-back Class A spot for the higher seed, the defending world champs, back at home. Yet the line is only 4.5. It was 5.5, 6 in Game 2 before Gobert was out. Then it was 7. Now it's just 4.5. Home teams do well in Game 7s. And Denver, if they really are a Class A team and the defending world champs, should show up. Game 6 was a strange result, but I think it sets up a good spot here for Denver in Game 7. As far as the total in this game, just like that New York-Indiana game, they are bumping it lower. In fact, it opened 199.5. It is now down to 197.5. That is almost 7.5 points lower than the 205 total in Game 6. Each of the past 4 games have been around 205, 204. Games 1 and 2, 210, 209. Now we've got 197.5. So this is almost 13 points lower than Game 1 about a couple weeks ago. My rescores in these, first of all, 4 of the 6 games have had at least 205 points or more. And also my rescore in the majority of these games have been 195 or higher. In fact, 4 of the 5, actually the last 5, 4 of the last 5 have been 199.5 or higher. I've had a 95 and a 194. So not much wiggle room here with the under, even though this is a Game 7. Minnesota is the most efficient defensive team in the league. But I think we have to put an asterisk next to that. Denver really beat them up good for 3 straight games. Those 3 straight wins, Minnesota allowed the Nuggets in the last 3 games before that blowout to shoot 55, 57, and 54% from the field. So I do question if Minnesota is really the best defensive team. And Rudy Gobert has struggled, to say the least, to stop Jokic. Not that anybody else can stop Jokic, but Gobert, the defensive player of the year, has struggled at times in this series. Jokic, of course, had that monster 40-point, 13-assist, no-turnover game back in Game 5. Came back down to earth with just 22 points in 35 minutes in Game 6. I only look to play superstars over, and I like to do it in bounce-back situations. This looks like one here. His point total, surprisingly, only around 29.5 to 30. Jokic over total points is the only way I would look. Rebounds, assists. He only had 2 assists also. Jokic assist props, points over. You can get a points and assists at 38.5. He had 53 and 42 in Games 4 and 5 and had only 24 in Game 6. So look, Jokic, best player in the league, MVP. Have to expect a bounce back here. Jokic overs or pass for me is my preference, even though it should be a lower scoring Game 7. Jamal Murray, got to talk about injuries here again. He had the calf strain. He was bothered by it, but he also looks like he's even more banged up now, and he's on the injury report now for a different injury, and that is his elbow. Definitely was bothering him in Game 6 when he injured it, to say the least. 4 for 18 shooting, 10 points. 4 for 18 shooting. But still, he took 18 shot attempts. So if the elbow is banged up, I'd be careful with his player prop. It's currently set around 19.5. But once again, he took a lot of shot attempts. He's working on his floater in practice on Saturday. A superstar I probably want to bet against. I would recommend some in-game opportunities with Murray. Take a look early. Look if his shot looks normal. If he hits a few shots, he could have a big game. If it looks like he's off again, then maybe you consider an under 19.5, because he was, once again, just 4 for 18 with that elbow injury on Friday night. Some other players for the Nuggets, which will have to step up big, of course, in that starting lineup. Aaron Gordon, I'd be careful with. He only had 7 shot attempts. Caldwell Pope only had 6 shot attempts, 2 for 6. He has not done much in this series. He's had 9, 16, 3, and 12, but he set at just 8.5, 9 points. He's actually had 9 points or more still in 3 of the last 4 games, so I do think Caldwell Pope does have some upside, even though he hasn't been getting a lot of shot attempts. All right, Minnesota, let's take a look at their player props. Obviously, we're not looking to bet against Anthony Edwards. He is a superstar, averaging 31.5 points in the 10 playoff games. He's priced at 27.5 points. He's had 27, 18, and 44. Although you got to go back to Game 1 when he had 43. He's had 27 or less in 4 of the last 5. So he's pretty much priced to perfection. I would rather look at a different player in Minnesota, maybe a secondary player. If they were to pull the upset, Karl Anthony Towns will have a big game. He only had 10 points the other night in the big blowout win, limited minutes. He's priced at 18.5. This is a guy, though, that has 14 points or less in 3 of his last 4 outings, so Denver has done a pretty good job on clamping Karl Anthony Towns down a bit. Dig a little bit deeper as far as backups. Even with the blowout win, Denver only had one backup play more than 13 minutes, and that was Christian Braun. Christian Braun only 2 points, though. He did have 10 and 11 before that. 4.5 is his total. Braun over 4.5 could be worth a look. And as far as Minnesota backups, obviously some guys got a little bit more time than others. Naz Reid, 22 minutes. We talked about him in some shows last week. I liked him over 8.5. He got to 10. He's had 7 or more in each of the 6 games in this series, and he's had double digits in 4 of the 6. I think Naz Reid over 8.5 could be worth a look, but I lean more towards Denver at home, Game 7, so I'd be careful with the Timberwolves props. I'd rather find some guys to play some unders. Nobody really jumped out to me here on the card. One guy that might regress a bit, actually, if you're looking for an under on Minnesota, is McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels pretty much shot lights out. He was extremely strong for the Game 6, 8 for 10 with 21 points. Can't shoot much better than that, so for that reason, McDaniels might regress a bit. His point total is 9.5. He's had 9, 11, and 10, and 5 and 0 in the other 5 games. So 11 or less in the other 5 games before the 21. Jaden McDaniels under 9.5. I'd like a 10 or more, but I still think McDaniels under could be worth a look, as he is likely to regress in Game 7 on the road. All right, that's a breakdown for both Game 7s this Sunday, May the 19th. Who do you like? Pacers, Knicks, Timberwolves, Nuggets. Which underdog do you think is more likely to pull the upset? Do you like both home teams? Do you like the unders? They've been moneymakers in Game 7s, but both totals are about 7 to 8 points lower than just 2 days ago. Isn't an over adjustment, no pun intended, or an under adjustment? Let me know in the comments. I read all the comments. I reply back. Who are you playing here on Sunday? Which game do you think will be closer? Which game, if you had to pick one, which one would you watch first? 2 tough choices. We got the daytime game Sunday, and then I'm sure everybody will be home Sunday night watching the night game on TNT. Hey, I read all the comments. I reply back. Let me know your thoughts. Include some analysis. Let's learn and earn and win together here on WagerTalk TV. I've done every NBA playoff every day this entire season, and I will continue to do so here with videos every day. If you're finding them useful, do me a quick favor. Half a second right now. Click the thumbs up, the like button. Boom, you did it. Half a second. Click the thumbs up, like. It keeps the content free and plentiful here on WagerTalk TV. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell as well if you want an instant alert when this video goes up each and every morning. My direct subscribers get instant alerts here by clicking the bell. And if you want to get my personal best bets for Sunday, baseball and basketball, check out my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And don't forget about the daily free plays. Get that free play right now for Sunday. I put a free play up every day for everyone. It's a great way to build your bankroll. And for those of you doing your own handicapping, and this is the last chance. Today and tomorrow, the last 2 days, we're offering the 30% instant discount on any All Sports All Access package. Anywhere from 1 day to 1 year, you get a 30% discount by using promo code ALL30. It's not on the website. It's not on Twitter. It's on these videos only. As a special thank you for those of you that watch these videos so regularly and support the channel, use promo code ALL30 on any All Sports package. You get an instant 30% discount. It can be a 1 day, 3 day, 7 day, 1 month, 3 month, 1 year. The bigger package, you save even more, and you earn and learn more every day by taking a serious investment approach. Start small or get on board. It doesn't matter. Everybody gets the same plays I am personally using. It's quite simple. If I have a game, I send it to my clients. They get an email right away so they can lock in the best number. Whether you do a 1 day or 1 year, everybody gets the same plays, just different durations and different price points. But no matter which one you choose, instant 30% savings with promo code ALL30, ALL30, ALL30 at checkout. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Follow me on Twitter and X at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merril on Twitter and X. And you can also follow me on Instagram along with WagerTalk. I post free plays on IG throughout the week. And stay tuned right here to WagerTalk TV for more great free content coming up next.